Hello, and welcome. Today, we're basically becoming detectives. We're going to investigate a mystery that, let's be honest, affects millions of us, those shockingly high and just plain confusing medical bills. So, let's dive right in and follow the money.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say this has probably happened to you. You open an envelope, you see a number with way too many zeros, and then there's this list of charges that might as well be written in another language. It's a super common, super frustrating experience, and today we're going to pull back the curtain and figure out exactly why it happens.
And look, this isn't just a feeling we all have. Experts have been calling this system out for years. This quote really gets to the heart of the problem. The starting prices themselves are, well, to put it mildly, they're just not reasonable. So where in the world do these prices even come from?
All right, our investigation starts with a really crucial piece of evidence. It's called the charge master, and for decades, this thing was a closely guarded secret, kind of like the hidden engine driving all of hospital billing.
So what is it? Think of the charge master like the sticker price on a new car. You know, the MSRP? Or maybe the full rack rate for a fancy hotel room. It's this official-looking price list, but it's really just a massively inflated starting point that almost nobody is ever expected to actually pay.
And the scale of this is just staggering. We're talking about a massive price book unique to every single hospital with tens of thousands of items. And until very recently, it was kept completely under wraps, a total secret from the public. This list is literally the foundation for every single bill that goes out. Now, here is the real kicker. You'd think, logically, that these prices are based on how much it actually costs the hospital to provide the care, right? Well, you'd be wrong. As this huge investigation found out, a lot of the time the prices are completely disconnected from the actual cost of anything.
And this brings us to a major plot twist in our little mystery here. It's not just that the prices on the charge master aren't based on cost. It's that, for the most part, the hospitals themselves often don't even know the true cost of their individual services.
So you have to ask, right? If you don't actually know how much an MRI costs you to perform, how on earth can you claim it costs, say, $1,257? Well, the method they use is, let's just say, it's creative.
Let's walk through this because it's pretty wild. A hospital will add up all its expenses for a year, payroll, supplies, the whole shebang. Let's say it's $500 million. Then it adds up all the bills it sent out using those inflated charge master prices. Let's call that a cool $1 billion. So they divide the costs by the charges and get a ratio, in this case 50%. And then they just apply that one single ratio to every single service to estimate its cost.
The most important thing to get here is that this whole system is built on, well, a house of cards. Those starting numbers, the billed charges, they're strategically jacked up to get the biggest possible payday from insurance companies. It's not really an accounting method, it's a negotiation tactic from the very beginning.
Which of course brings us to our next clue. What happens when those inflated prices actually meet the real world of insurance companies? This is where the secret deals happen.
And really, this is the whole game in a nutshell. Over on the left, you've got that imaginary billed charge from the secret list. But on the right, you have the allowed amount. That's the real price that your insurance company secretly negotiated behind closed doors. That massive gap between those two numbers is where so much of the confusion starts.
And just to make things even more complicated, a lot of the time insurers just ignore that whole itemized list. Instead, they use a system of bundled payments called DRGs. Think of it like a combo meal. They don't pay for the burger, the fries, and the drink separately. They just pay one flat fee for the pneumonia combo or the knee surgery special, no matter what specific things you actually got.
So, what does this completely chaotic system actually look like in the real world? Let's get to the evidence. Let's look at the data, because this is where things get truly wild.
Okay, just take a look at this chart. This shows the prices for 6 pretty common procedures. See those clusters of bars? Each one represents a different payer, like Medicare, a private insurer, or someone paying cash. The price for the exact same service is just all over the place. It's madness. Let's zero in on just one of these to make it really concrete. An abdominal ultrasound. The list price, what an uninsured person might get billed, averages over $1,200, but the average price Medicaid pays for that exact same procedure, just under $200.
Yeah, let that sink in for a second. The average list price is more than 6 times higher than the average Medicaid price for the identical service. This isn't a system with just a few small differences, it's a system with basically no logical consistency at all.
A system this broken is obviously going to attract some attention. So the big question is, what's being done to try and fix it? Let's take a look at some of the recent attempts to bring a little order to all this chaos.
So, over the last decade or so, there's been this slow but steady push for transparency. It started with publishing some prices way back in 2013, and it's led up to some major federal laws that now force hospitals to reveal not just their secret charge masters, but also, and this is key, their negotiated rates with insurers. The No Surprises Act was a huge deal. It was designed to protect patients from some of the absolute worst parts of this system. Like getting a massive bill from an out-of-network doctor you didn't even choose at an in-network hospital. It also created a whole new process to sort out these payment fights. But here's an early and maybe kind of surprising result from that new dispute process. It turns out providers, the hospitals and doctors, are winning the vast majority of these cases. We're talking 85% of them, and they're often getting paid way more than the median in-network rates.
And this has kicked off a big debate. On the one hand, the law is working. It's stopping a lot of those awful surprise bills. But there's a real worry that providers are now using this new system to drive up prices across the board. And if that happens, it could eventually lead to higher insurance premiums for all of us. It's kind of like plugging one leak in a pipe only to have another one spring somewhere else.
So we kind of end up where we began. We've uncovered the secret lists, the flawed math, the backroom negotiation games, and while new laws are forcing all these secrets out into the light, that fundamental question is still hanging there. Is just seeing the prices enough to fix a system where the prices themselves make absolutely no sense? The mystery, it seems, is far from over. That's all the time we have for this explainer. Thanks for watching.